talking to somebody I was showing them some of the footage I got in this cutover.
And why is there so many bucks laying in these cutovers?
What I told the person was, you wouldn't believe how many people say, I don't want cutover. And I want to show them this. I want to say, maybe you do.
Yeah.
Like, I do.
Yeah.
If you're telling me you don't want cutover, you know I do.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Well, thanks for coming back to another episode of the Woodsman Perspective podcast. We've been on a little bit of a break lately. We've been wide open.
Food plot,
bow season.
Yeah,
a lot of work going on. So we hadn't had a chance to get together much. So it's funny. We were talking about something. So I've been working on a few things on some drone work, and it just lined up with something Chris had been working on, and we both came to the same idea, and we've both been kind of chewing on this same idea for an episode for a podcast, and it's something that's really overlooked.
Oh, it is, yeah.
And we're going to talk about cutovers.
Yeah, the famous cutover.
Yeah,
whether you're buying or managing, like you saying, Brent, nobody calls and says, "Hey, man, Chris, I'm looking for a 200-acre cutover."
Yeah, I run into people whether it's out and about, or some people call me about
looking for land.
It's always, I don't want cutover, and even I don't want pines. Everybody wants hardwood, some type of mix with some open ground. But man, from a wildlife standpoint and
hunting, we're fixing to debunk it.
Yeah, we're going to show you that maybe that cutover, maybe you do,
and maybe you just don't know.
Because look, the reality of it doesn't look great.
No, it looks like a bomb hit. Yes. I was in one. We're clear cutting 140 acres in Fayette County, Alabama, right now.
I was going to say, you built a lot of cutovers.
And I mean, man, I stood on one of them big hills over there. If any listeners from Alabama, you'll know what I'm talking about. But I was out west of the river, and it's just, and I could stand on one hill and look all the way across the skidder coming, and I'm like, golly. And it's 65-year-old mix stand, hardwood, pine mix. And,
all right, so
it's rough.
It looks rough. We're in an area right here, and a lot of our listeners will relate to this. Some won't, but we're in an area right here. We're close to a paper mill.
Yes.
And I've lived my whole life in the shadow of a paper mill.
You're a paper mill man.
We came. We were in North Louisiana before we came here.
Yes.
Dad worked paper mill there. Mm-hmm. All my family and Dad started a mill in South.
And when you have chip mills and paper mills, clear cuts are just part of life.
I've grown up hunting plantation pines with SMZs and cutover.
Yes.
There's no matter where I was sitting, I was pretty close to a cutover.
Yeah.
I don't think anything of it.
And the thing about a cutover, what really bothers people, especially me being in the timber business and cutting one next to the neighbors, and they come out there raising two
no one's ever glad to see
two worse of hell, because all their lives they've seen those trees big, standing pretty. We roll in, and in 3 weeks' time, 40 acres is gone.
Yeah, we can do a whole nother podcast. We probably will about the value of logging.
Yes,
that standing liability that standing timber is. There's a whole lot of reasons for the cutover, but let's fast forward past that.
Personal people's perception of the way it looks.
Yeah.
It don't look good. It looks like a bomb hit. You hear people, man, that looks like a bomb hit. That looks like shit. I mean,
that's the most just popular description.
Yes,
of cutover.
And they say
it looks like a bomb.
And really, that's from everybody. That's women that don't know one thing about forestry or wildlife.
Aesthetically, it doesn't look
to a person that's in the business like me. It doesn't look good. Yeah. It's a bad thing. But here's the thing. Once it's cut, it's a clean slate to the next owner. Okay?
Yep.
He can set that track up any way he wants to. Okay? Yep. Now, he could use the logging road that was there. He can abandon it. He can do anything, because how many people, Brent, that has some of these tracts of hardwood, man, I don't want to take that hardwoods down. I don't mess that tree up. The next thing you know, wind blow it over.
Yeah.
It just, people make bad decisions based on they don't want to get into their hardwood or they don't want to get into their pine. Once it's all cut, it ain't no decision to make.
Yeah.
Okay? Your decision is to make, all right, what do I want to do with it? And we'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah,
But
we've talked on several episodes, and there's a lot of building blocks to this. I think
Yes.
to go through. So
yes,
when
it's affordable building block.
that's right. And when you talk
You know?
about walking into that fresh cutover,
Yes.
that you've got the clean slate, where to do this and where to do that. Several things we've talked on other podcasts about how those roads that they make logging aren't roads.
No.
Essentially they're ditches.
They're ditches.
So you don't probably don't plan
But
around
sometimes, and it's according, we got a lot of listeners at different places, Texas, South Carolina. So some may be in the bottoms. Some loggers, the logger we got in Fayette, Alabama, unbelievable road system he built. This man got up there. I mean, it's something that we'll keep.
To 'em, right.
Oh my God, he put them on ridges.
Yeah.
We will 100% keep them, and it's a value. I mean, it's a free value that landowner or that next owner.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you, we're going to sell that 140 acres.
Yeah.
100%. It's going to be cut. Somebody offered him to buy it. Not to tell the name, but somebody offered him $1,000 an acre or whatever. I think that's what it was. Well, I went and looked at the timber, and I said, that's $1,000 an acre with timber on it. I said, I don't think that's a good move.
Mm.
So I said, let's cut it,
Then sell it.
then sell it. So that's what we did. So we're cutting it, and once we
That's
get it
how
cut.
a lot of fresh cutover ends up on the market.
Right, that's
someone's
right,
getting
yeah.
ready to sell.
Well, and you think about the age structure.
yeah.
So my client, he's in his 70s, okay? His children don't live there. All right, we talked about this earlier. So how these cutovers become is an old man that would never cut his timber. He leaves it to 3 kids, a girl, 2 boys. I'm just using this as an example.
Yep.
They don't live here.
No value.
One may live here.
Won't live
They
here.
don't care.
Liquidate.
They don't care if it looks like a bomb hit it. They want that cash and then sell it. And most people, whether it's a consultant, timber guys, realtors, they'll tell them, man, you ought to cut that timber, then you can sell the land. I mean, that's just a common
I
trait
see it
in
a
the
lot
South.
in land, and
It's a common trait in the South.
I feel like
Yeah.
it feels like a more safe, stable way for them to pull the value out of that property. They sell that timber, and they're going to get that money.
Yeah, well,
They sell
and
that
here's
timber,
another
then
thing.
Then they can easier sell maybe on bare ground.
I don't know many families that have 4 siblings and all 4 siblings get along. Let's just throw that out there, okay? So in order to divide that, you're going to always have that Uncle Jim that's a turd in the barrel.
Yeah.
He goes, I want the white oak. I want them white oaks. Okay? Well, there's no way to divide
Very
that
complicated.
200 acres,
man, yeah.
and there's no way to divide it. And here's the thing. I see it all the time in inherited property. I ain't giving my brother no extra money for that.
Yeah.
Daddy had that land. I understand. So when they go to squabbling, what's the next? We're just going to cut it and divide the land.
Yeah,
Then once it's cut over, you can divide 40 acres very easy.
In the case of your client,
40.
it's a lot easier to divide money between heirs than land.
You can't look. If it's $100,000 there and you divide it 4 ways, everybody gets 25.
Everybody gets it. It's a lot easier.
And you don't. And plus, we get back to easements.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
According to how that track is divided. Then you got an easement going through 3 tracks to get to the one in the back. So it makes perfect sense on a family ordinance. So don't think we're. And I guarantee some of our listeners right here said, yeah, they're right, Uncle. My mom and dad and them sold their timber, and when Pawpaw died, or Uncle Jim or Uncle Will left it to us. We cut the timber and did this. So
now I just sold one where the heirs, they didn't cut it. They recognize the value. Now, not all tracts.
And they left
They
it.
recognize the value of that.
It's a
property,
pretty tract too.
where it was, what all it had to offer. They
Yeah.
didn't, and I'm glad they didn't. Mm-hmm. That was a lot better move financially.
It was, and because that tract had some residential potential.
I'm just saying that's not always.
and then
we're not saying that's the
because,
best move every time.
Look, here's the thing. What people don't know, and we've talked about this on this podcast, but clearing an acre of stumps is going to be between $1,500 and $4,000. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go to kind of what we're getting back to is Brent, you got that buyer, okay? Young guy. Look, young ownership of land is gaining popularity.
Yep. See a lot more,
Especially in our
first-time
area.
land
In our
buyers.
area,
Yep.
we have a couple steel mills, okay? We've got a paper mill here. We've got some really good
paying jobs.
And look, these guys grew up hunting clubs. They wanted a piece of land. So these young guys in their 20s, early 30s, they're buying some land.
Yep.
So everybody's dream in life, if you want a piece of land, man, I want them big, beautiful hardwoods, and I want, all these rolling fields and all
Bottomland hardwoods.
I've heard it 100 times. Well, because of our age, okay, there's not a lot of those tracts left that are affordable.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, let's just say that. All right, everybody's got a limitation on what they want to spend. All right? But people look at a fresh cutover and they just close their eyes because it looks so like it's so much work and it's such a hard thing. Look,
it's not what anybody pictures when they think about
their
farm and their
because look, and if they're buying that thing and they're spending 80 to 100,000, and they're like, what am I getting? I'm getting this, but it doesn't take long.
Yeah, and that's
for the tide. Look, for the tides to turn.
Yeah, that's sort of where our story begins.
And it's funny how we're talking about it, but I've been developing one for a client over in Alabama, and it's 3 years old, 3-year-old cutover. Let it lay out a year and plant it so the trees are about this tall, I guess.
And
so
if you're listening, foot and a half
tall. So I carry a mulcher down there. All right, I start mulching road beside some roads. One thing about loggers now, they bad to push that dirt on the side. So it's some ideas. And I'm just not saying me having only vision, but I do have a vision for what a good deer hunting place is. I got a good vision as anybody there is. Because I love it and I know what you need, the winds, the roads, different things. So I started mulching this cutover. And man, I'm mulching. And I could just see that vision because I can look back. My first piece of land I bought was cutover 25, 30 years ago. I bought cutover. Now it's 30 years old. Need to cut it. So I didn't buy a tract with hardwood. If I did buy a tract with hardwood, I had to cut them. Cost too much, even back then. And I wasn't lucky enough to keep them. But Brent, because you've killed turkeys on them, you've hunted them. I have transformed some cutovers in some of the baddest tracts around. And it started off as that ugly bomb hit it. Yeah. I mean, and I had a bunch of them.
And it doesn't take long.
No, because, it'll heal itself, in 2 years. When I first looked at this tract, when the guy was going to buy it, I walked by and they were just coming out of there with the timber. And you could just see, they left some nice SMZs, big SMZ on a creek down there. And had turkeys in the area. So, my thing was, hey, let's lay a big field. Let's lay some fields out along the creek. Mm-hmm. Let's lay a nice road going in there. And I'm painting a scene that's never been done before. So the cool part about this tract that I'm talking about, hey buddy, the cool part of this tract was in 1958, it was row crop. It was open fields.
Yeah.
And Weyerhaeuser got a long-term 65-year timber lease on it, and the lease ran out 2 years ago. It's pretty neat for it to go back into wildlife food plots, and now it's coming back, early succession. There's our stuff, there's our name. Yeah. But really early, that's the wildlife common name. The redneck name is just a cutover that you let grow up. That ain't in trees.
Field that you walk away from.
So. It's not in trees. Anything developed that's being called early succession, dude, that can be anything from a green field, old pasture, old fields, anything you're letting grow up that trees have not encroached it.
Yeah, it hadn't gotten woody yet.
Yeah, it hadn't gotten woody.
You said it best, less than trees.
Less than trees.
Yeah, you look across there and that
land
that
less than trees.
Yeah. Grass, plants, forests, just not woody trees.
And really what we're doing is we need more early succession in these big hardwoods and in these things. Yeah. And Brent, here's another thing on a hunter's standpoint. When you're hunting and you're scouting a piece of property and there's a 20-acre clear cut, where are you going to hunt at?
Right on the edge of it.
No question.
And that's the thing. So we talk
You know.
about hardwoods. Hardwoods inside, so the diversity is the key. If you had just a stand of 100 acres of hardwoods, there's very little hunting and wildlife value there.
Beautiful.
It's pretty. Probably looks like a park. But
And it probably bring a big money.
Without the diversity, it's not from a hunting stand. If you're looking for a hunting property, deer hunting property, and even turkey hunting property, the cutover for the dollar. Now we're going back to the value proposition. Your dollar goes a lot farther.
I want the
There's
guy.
a lot of it on the market.
Yes.
Usually it's there's counties around us, and I'm sure wherever you're at listening, it's pretty easy to find the cutover.
Ain't no doubt.
And
a lot of them don't hit the market until they're 3 or 4 years old. Look, a lot of them don't hit the market till those trees get high enough that people can see them.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying, you could gobble up a 30 to 40% cheaper deal by striking on that cutover right when it's freshly cut. And look, you go to them. Hey, or if you're using a realtor, hey, call. Do you know Johnson?
You look around that cutover.
Yes.
You look at the neighbors. You look what's around it.
Yep.
And generally, you're going to have some diversity of age, and even if it's other pine, other timber company land around, there's going to be a different age in that pine.
And the place that we're trying to develop over there, it's 200-something acres, and we built a 6-7 acre field right in the middle with no pressure. I mean, the guy said, "Look, I'm not going to hunt it." Yeah. So we planted.
How easy is it to go build a field in a brand new cutover?
It was so easy because. I had to understand, do I want lanes running in? And this one didn't have any roll. Like me and you was talking about one of them cutovers that you have right now that's listed a little older, but it had ridges. So you'd have to put your roads on the ridges or your food plots.
Yeah.
And, when land's running like this, you can't put a food plot on the side of the bank. And anyway, this one was in a bottom and had a big creek running through it, so it was pretty easy. And another thing, I was standing on that track, and I'm not going to develop the track at Fayette. We're going to sell it like it is. Not going to replant it either. But I was just sitting there, and I was thinking in my mind, because I always do that, if I was still going to develop it, I see that SMZ had some flat in it. I could run a 250-yard lane down that SMZ. Mm-hmm. You could use that new road that the logger built to get there to it. You could almost have a 3-way stop.
Yeah.
Or spoken hub, whatever you want to call it. And you start seeing it, and you can visualize what that thing is going to look like. I can, but maybe most people can't.
Yeah.
That's when you got to have a realtor like you or a person like me that knows what it's going to look like at year 3, 4, 5, all the way up.
Yeah. And I want to try to get this thing sort of organized, but you mentioned looking down at SMZ, and you like to run a field along those SMZs, and that goes to something. So, back in the spring, I sat in and I did some videoing for the guys Wildlife Investments at a turkey clinic, and they did in Columbiana. Yeah, and Will Goolsby was going through like pine management, and he made a point that goes exactly with what it goes along with what you're talking about putting that food plot along that SMZ. And the SMZ is Streamside Management Zone. If you didn't know what it was, if you look at cutover, even plantation
strip
pine,
of timber,
those hardwoods that are left on your creeks and your drainages, that's SMZ. Right. So Will illustrated as well as I've ever seen. It was eye-opening that, and we've talked about this before too, how important those roosts are. And a lot of times those roost spots will be in areas over water or your creek, where these hardwoods are. Mm-hmm. And once you cut a tract, if you just plant it back or it comes back, a lot of times those SMZs are your roost, and they get cut off from the rest of that tract.
That's right.
And they don't. What you're saying,
they're not like
right, and that's
interstate where they can travel.
That's
a corridor.
You've cut off, even if you've got big food plots. If it's 200 yards away from that SMZ, you've cut off that roost from the rest of the property. So what you're saying, putting those food plots
because then
close to this.
Then my thing is, when he flies down,
he's got somewhere on you to fly
because
down.
Look, let's talk about this. A deer can stay anywhere.
That's right.
As long as you got some blackberries and some briars, and they're good. They're going to use it. Yep. Turkeys are a different animal with clear cuts.
As
So
you're setting up this cutover we're talking about near that SMZ, create you some openings and some connecting.
if you think
cords.
about it, we may have some listeners that are fixing to have to cut some timber. Okay, then the planning, hey, is easy then, because look, Brent, a lot of times, and that one of them tracks you hunt over by the Air Force Base, they left enough of the hardwood in the bottom that the turkeys never left. They stayed there.
Yep.
Okay, one of my first tracks, 200-acre track, first one I've ever developed, a big one of myself, it was 200 acres. And man, I loved it. I had to pay a whopping $600 an acre for it. I didn't know how I was going to pay for it. I mean, back then that was a big deal. It was all cut, but they left. There was eagles on the track, and at the time you had to leave a pretty wide buffer. They called it a buffer. We called it SMZ. So they left 200 feet, 200 or 300 feet of hardwood right down the side of the river, and it all connected. And what I done was, when I planted, I didn't do like Will said. I didn't block them off. I kept it clear, and then them clearings, instead of planting pine, I left it in an open field.
Yep.
And mulched the stumps up. Back then, it wasn't no mulcher. I tell you what I did it with. It's been 25 years ago. I bought a stump grinder from an auction, a Vermeer stump grinder, pulled behind a truck. And that thing, and then you could grind the stumps. And I developed that. Wasn't no mulchers back then. I developed that track. I cleared the track out, flagged it, and grind the stumps up with a stump grinder. That's just another tool, and you still do it to this day. To do that. And I made those food plots, and it's so crazy. 25 years later, I traded it to a client, and I'm still managing. I planted it the other day, and those fields are they're just the way I left them. And now these trees are ready to be thinned. There's turkeys roosting in them. And when I bought it, there wasn't a tree on it, except for that strip.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. And look, man, we laugh. 20 years goes by fast.
You can manipulate it.
You can.
You got that. You mentioned earlier, you got sort of a clean slate.
You do.
And you can go in, like we said, you can create those openings against the SMZ intentionally where your turkeys still have access. You're not cutting them off. But also, you lay out your roads and your paths in there where you can intentionally get in and access. You create access.
So you're not blowing everything in the country. You're thinking, okay, if I have a north or south wind, I want this field running east and west, okay? Then I can sneak and get into that stand, and just say you got 40 acres, all right? I put a long gas line type lane all the way across it. Sodero, for my guys in Texas, a little shout out for them. But you put that Sodero or lane across that track, you got to stand on one side, stand on the other side, but your access point, not through the middle, leave the middle quiet. Put them access points on the sides. You can lay all that out. Look, people plant these trees, just say if you want to come back and plant trees, reforestation, okay? So you come back and plant trees, 640 trees an acre. In 2 years, you want to do something different, all I got to do is mow them down. They ain't going to be that tall.
Yeah.
People get so weird. Hey, man, don't cut the tree. I said, what's it matter?
Yeah.
And okay, my bad. Because.
And I'm not to poo-poo on timber value, because timber value is still important. But the recreational value and the hunting, the wildlife improvements that you can make on this property, and as easy as you can do it at this stage, there's a lot of value in that.
Yeah.
And you can, we talk about, we always try to balance these things. We talk about the impact and the improvement for your hunting and your wildlife. We try to talk about it from an economic standpoint too, and it's so much cheaper to do it and easier. Easier translates to cheaper when the things we're talking about.
That's right.
It's so much easier to do it when it's at this stage, because like you said, you can mow some of this down. We're talking about laying out your roads and trails. We're not talking about having to. This it's relatively inexpensive. I mean, you can do it. But so not just that. So we've kind of covered how easily, relatively speaking, you can manipulate it. You can lay out your fields, lay out your roads. You got your clean slate. But the other thing is, deer love a cutover. This we talk about.
There is nothing any better.
Every podcast we've talked about land and habitat. We've touched on that.
Patch clear cut
up to
hack and squirt
7 to 8 years.
Yes, you got to set them back out. Yeah,
set it back then, but they love it, and it's not just a bedding thicket. It's not just cover. There's all kind of food in there.
Let me put it this way: if I had to say, if somebody held a gun to me and said, Chris, I want the quickest, great deer hunting track.
Yeah.
What I look for, I can spend up to $400,000. Let's find the biggest cutover we can find.
Yeah, because the response, the wildlife response,
They do it,
what
man.
you do is,
They do
so fast.
Yeah, and especially deer, like you said. I mean, let's don't be, the stuff that I've done on some of the Mayhew tracks where we did some spraying, that was over some time. It took some time, but that whole track was cut over.
Yeah.
I clear cut that thing 3 years before I bought it. It was all pines. We clear cut it, got sawflies in it, and the landowner went nuts. The trees turned brown. I tried to tell him, I said, look, they're going to be fine. He said, no, I want to cut it. I said, okay. That was that old buzz bait. But, I mean, and developing, but they're not. Just like, all right, so this one that I'm doing now, I went and rented a skid steer mulcher, $800, $900 a day. Went and rented the dozer, $800 a day. And in 4 days, 3 days on the mulcher, 1 day on the dozer building the road. So roughly $6,000. I got them a 6-acre field down there, planted, ready to go.
6 acre and roads like you.
One road. I just made one big road. The road was over half a mile long. Crowned it.
Yeah.
20 foot on each side of the road. Landed into a 6-acre food plot along the creek. Mm-hmm. We did it all with a mulcher. It was 3 years old. The mulcher had knives.
Walked away and it's planted.
It's done.
Yeah.
It's done. Put the shooting house and the corn feeder, Alabama corn feeder. Put the shooting house and the corn feeder in it yesterday.
Yeah.
It's done. That's cool. If you would have had hardwood or big pines, you'd still be down there digging stumps up.
Yeah. And so year one, this is year 3.
This is year 3.
So year 3, it's right. I mean, they're sticking.
It's ready. There were deer trails coming into where I just made the field. So I guarantee right now, and I've got to go down there tomorrow and pick my tractor up, but because I drilled it too. Right now, there's deer walking through that field right now.
Yeah.
They're ready for it to explode.
Yeah, and it's just the production, the wildlife production you get out of that cutover is unreal. I mean, I've been running thermal a good bit, and I've got video. There's a few cutovers that I've been watching, and I can go
ones that are managed. The good part, and the ones that are not managed. Yeah. And that's going to be the cool thing. That is so cool, Brent.
I can get over this cutover with this thermal and just stop.
And I cut both of them.
And I can pan around.
Yeah.
And it lights up with deer. It just that thermal will light up.
The funny one is the one managed that we know about, the one that's managed, deer, and then you showing me $8 on a different track that's unmanaged. It was clear cut, 3 years ago, 4 years ago? Yeah, 3 or 4.
Yeah, something like that.
I'm going to say 3. 3 years ago, left, never been replanted. But it is wildlife. It's a deer mecca.
Yep. It's
a deer
unbelievable,
mecca.
The deer. And for some reason, the bucks.
In
Bucks cutover,
feel safe when they're walking through grass this tall on them.
Yeah.
And they're seeing and they're walking through grass up to their chest and they feel like they're hid because they'll pull that Statue of Liberty move on you.
Oh yeah,
they'll freeze.
I've got drone footage. I'll sit over them and watch them.
The cool thing, you watch them how they lay down.
Yeah,
that's so cool. They'll be back up against things.
They always bed with a little bit of a tree or vertical cover right there next to them, and it's funny because they're almost always in the same general area that cutover.
They feel safe.
Territorial. They've got their own areas in these cutovers. And that's the well-managed and the unmanaged.
Yes.
It's the same way. I can go back and almost without exception, I can go right to and find one of these bucks.
Yeah.
And it's really neat.
Because you've been watching some of them the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, I've been watching
in the same area.
Velvet.
Yeah.
Got footage of some of them in August, September with Velvet. Got them now. Got 2 of those same bucks I had in Velvet. I got them up sparring the other day.
It's crazy because I was in on cutting both of those tracks. And
you made a lot of cutovers.
Yeah, I've done About 21,000 acres, I think I've made. I've counted up one time, but it's a they're going to clear cut. People don't select cut anymore. People hardly ever. They'll thin some pines if you can get somebody to thin them, but I don't care where across the South we're clear cut because we can grow it so faster.
Yeah. So that gets into the next evolution of what we're talking about. So if you start out with this clear cut, you lay it out like we're talking about.
Yep.
Intentionally, you've got your rows, you've created some openings in there. As those pines do start to grow, that they say on those pines, what is it? They sneak and then they creep and then they leap.
Then they'll jump. That's right.
Once you see them, they start jumping.
I always look at it when you see them heads sticking up the top of that.
Top of those briars.
Stuff, they coming. Yeah, all right, they finna come.
Next stage of this thing, this pine, if you plant it back, and we're talking cutover. You don't.
Yeah, sure. You don't have to. Look, they're doing a lot of cool stuff. Herbicide and fire, and they're managing these cutovers kind of like a field.
And that's the thing. That's where I'm going. Stage 2 of this cutover you started with, it will be here before you know it.
Yeah.
And then you can set it back, and you can create you a fire regime where you're doing sections of it, even if it's a 40.
Oh, ain't no doubt.
You don't clear the table.
Use a road as a split mark.
Right.
Yeah.
You can manage it. Mm-hmm. And
you can.
Pines are the easiest to manage and manipulate for wildlife.
Well, just say that you've got $150,000 to spend, okay? And you want these beautiful hardwoods. Well, you may buy 50, 60, 70 acres. But if you bought cutover, I'm still seeing some cutover for $800 an acre, $800 an acre.
That's the thing.
So that's a
you get more ground.
You get more ground.
You open your eyes, and you open your mind a little bit to that cutover and what you can do.
You think about if you get twice as much ground as what you was going to buy, and then you do it.
And don't be so short-sighted.
And don't lose. Look, I tell people all the time, don't lose your vision on what you really want. If you really want a bottomland hardwood tract, that's fine. Buy this cutover, develop it, make it look like $1 million.
Turn it. Get in
and when you find this other tract, you've got this one ready to sell.
Yep.
Or you may be financially, you could keep it and the other one. Okay?
Yep.
Or if it's a tract where you can sell it, and then those improvements you've done, boom, you can buy that other one.
Almost everybody I know.
I did it. I started off
in
that
the
way.
Land game or that
27 acres, my first tract.
Almost everyone I know started. None of them. There's a few exceptions, but hardly anybody started with that perfect tract.
No.
They started. They moved it. They rolled into it. They built it. They flipped this one. They moved to the next one almost without exception.
Look, if it makes you feel any better, the whole southeast United States was clear cut after the Civil War. When we lost, which has whatever, northern railroads took over the South. I'm a history nut. Everybody who's listened to me long enough know they took over the South. They cut everything. So those bottomland hardwoods that you say, man, they've never been cut. Yeah, they have. They've been cut. Everything in the South was cut around here, except for some government. Delta National Forest. The only tract had never been cut. This stuff is big as a car could sit on. But guess what it's doing? It gets to a point where
it's got a life.
It's got a life. Everything's got a lifespan.
Have a lifespan.
Yeah. And
I heard, look, there's a timber guy, a guy we both know. He had a tornado just smoke the property, and I remember
it was a beautiful tract too.
He said standing timber is a liability, and it is.
Right.
It's
and look, he'll be listening, Brown. We still hurting for you because that was a beautiful tract, and he lost $500,000 overnight. He just smoked it.
Yeah.
And it made him think about, man, is it? But now it's so funny. A guy bought that tract, and he's converted it. And, man, it looks like $1 million now. It's so cool to see what people – because, look, right now, y'all, we live in the best time in the world as far as technology. We got mulchers. We got track hoes. We've got dozers. We got stuff that nobody had back in the 70s and 80s and even the early 90s and even the 2000s. Now you can go in. You think about a Kaiser blade versus a mulcher. You think about Johnny Krim on that bush hog
Yeah.
tearing the whole deck off of it, knocking the gearbox off of it. Now you can run over that mulcher. Look, I would hit a tree. These trees were 35 years old because warehouse usually runs a cycle. Okay. So I would hit a stump. I'd turn around, I'd take that mulcher, and I'd back. One time, two times, it was done. It was
Over with.
over with. I went on to the next one. All right. Now, every once in a while, they'd pull one of them beer joint moves on me. They'd leave a stump about 3-4 foot high, and I'd hit it, and it like threw me through the windshield of the mulcher. But then you just take a chainsaw, cut that block off, take that mulcher, and go back and forth. Yeah. And I mean, it's gone. I mean, and I drilled it, So, I mean, it's a cool, we have the technology to do it. And listen, when I tell you this, they didn't build Rome in a day. Set a priority. I would do that. I'd set up, everybody's got a budget in life. I don't care how much money you got.
Yep.
Everybody's got a budget. And if your budget's $1,500, $2,000, $5,000 a year, set one, do your work, and then next year, do some more. Next year, do some more. Before you know it, you got it done.
You've done it.
You've got it done. And you've done it yourself. Maybe you don't know how to run a piece of equipment, okay? I do. And I enjoy doing it. A lot of folks, look, I got one of my buddies is a great hunter. He hates a tractor. He hates getting on it. His thing is, Chris, as long as I can afford to pay you, I ain't getting on it.
Never have to get on.
I ain't going to get on one. And loves to hunt and is a good hunter.
Yeah.
It may not be your thing.
That's a good point. Not everybody likes to work.
No, that's right. I love to work. But sometimes people have more money than they have time.
That's right.
And look, you take a couple $1,000, you work on this field, you throw sticks out of it. That's stuff that you can do. You ain't got to be skilled to go throw a stick out the field.
Yeah.
Because it's going to take you about, remember when I tell you this, if you don't get nothing out of this podcast, it takes about 3 years to get roots and sticks out of a field. And ain't but one way to pick them up.
Yeah.
With them hands.
And the other tool that you can use that's relatively inexpensive is fire.
Yes.
Fire is a wonderful tool.
Herbicide and fire.
Herbicide and fire. You can.
It scares people.
But you can mitigate a lot of, that's disturbance. You can mitigate a lot of the use of equipment.
But Brent, the good point. The good thing about fire, you may can sign up and get a little government money on that fire.
Yeah.
We have a couple things in Mississippi, Fire on the 40, some CSP. We have some different programs you can set up that'll help you burn.
Yep.
And look, fire is scary to a lot of people. Okay. Scary to a lot of people. And it's scary to me, and I burn all the time. It doesn't. Look, you light it, you high-fiving. When it goes out, your heart's back in your chest.
It's like cutting a tree down.
It is. But
you're committed once you do it.
Once you do get it laid out, you run your fire. But, you can't go out there and drink 2 fifths of Crown Royal and then, hey, man, watch this, and then let it on fire. Make sure your lanes are there. And,
do it right.
Do it right. Don't make that guy with them sheetrock legs have to run out there and put the fire out, that volunteer fireman. Run that sheetrock at night, that he has to run out there and put your fire out. I've done that
that's
before.
Oddly specific.
Yeah.
There's a story behind that, I'm sure.
Yeah, there is.
Somebody showed up on stilts
with
to put a fire out.
Legs, yeah. Come out there, and I thought, you don't see that every day. But I tell you what, that joker could pull that hose with them sheetrock legs. I ain't lying. I don't know if they were Nike sheetrock legs, but they were good. And he could roll pretty good with them legs.
Oh, man.
I don't even know what to say. Cutovers, look, don't let the appearance scare you.
Yeah.
They're not as bad. Look, if you don't do nothing to a cutover, the second year, it starts rotting. Third year starts rotting. Year 5, every one of them big tops that you couldn't get through, they're on the ground.
Yeah, and you've got a lot of plants. You got briars,
you got stuff. Your first thing's going to come back most times going to be forbs. It's going to be goldenrod, and then year 2 and 3, your grasses start coming. That's when you want to hit it with that fire. Yep. Mm-hmm. And then, like Mitt, he always says, the more fire you put in one, the more grasses you're going to get. And then you can almost make that thing where it's, I made a cutover where you can burn it. We're burning one every year. Yeah. We're burning a section every year. And we got food plots laid out, fire lanes, and then just like this year, I knew what sections I was going to burn, so I went ahead and drilled the fire lanes to give me a little. And
look, if you're listening to this episode, really go to YouTube and watch it. because I've got a lot. We've got a lot of footage, and I can show you. I want to show y'all what some of these projects, some of these tracks look like that have been kept in early succession.
Yeah.
So like it's been kept. It was cut over, and I've got video in different stages.
And it's been kept there for the last 6-7 years.
We got cut over that's just been let grow back wild. We got some that you've been hitting with herbicide and fire regularly and in different intervals. And it's the proof is in the pudding. Yeah. Like we're not making it up.
And I ain't lying. Let me tell you something. That fire brings some stuff out. Yeah, it's unbelievable. It'll get some stuff growing, and I'm just now tying into some bucks, and I've sent you some pictures of some of those bucks.
Yeah, and I sent you
of them. I had a picture. Look, Brent sends me pictures, and I look at them. I said, "Hold on." So I send them to Brent. Brent, Joker, you can't get nothing past him eyeballs. He done identified every one of them.
Hey,
and he said these 3 are laying here. This one's laying by itself over here, and this is laying right here. I'm like, God dang. and
talking about technology.
Yeah, I mean that's right. I mean it. Look, y'all. We're using some technology now, and look, if y'all have been listening to this podcast, you know I'm not Mr. Technology. I can run a machine. I ain't many machines I can't run, but computers and emailing and that just ain't. Especially drone. If Brent said, "Chris, you got to carry us home. Here's my drone," I'm gonna say, Brent, let me tell you something.
Been fun.
Yeah, you need to sketch something out on some paper your wheel because I'm done. I don't think I could do it.
But I'm gonna show some footage and really drive home the point that we're making. And look,
I just want to.
How many turkeys have we killed in food plots on the edge of these cutovers? Like, man. I mean, it's not just deer.
Turkeys are starting to use them now because people are starting to manage them,
and you're starting to see people run fire through them, and you're creating the nesting and the brooding habitat in there. And it goes back to you can manipulate it specifically for these things. It's things you can't do in a hardwood stand.
The cool part is right now on one of our cutover tracks, a turkey wouldn't be caught dead in it, but I burn it in the spring, and they're in it every day.
Yeah,
I mean we're burning it level to the ground, hot fire. They're in it, and then right now, guess what else is in it?
Well, it's got that diversity. You've got some big food plot openings. You've got clover. You're keeping clover in there. You're keeping food there, and you've got a fire return coming back at different stages.
I do have to throw this one out there because people say it's a myth, but I did see 7 quail today.
Really?
Yep. They jumped up. 4 or 5 jumped up, and then as I got beside them, 2 more jumped up. They were fat. They were
Alabama?
Nice. No, Mississippi. They jumped up, and they were actually in an edge, and they just went out there, flew about 20 feet, and flew down.
That's cool.
They're pretty now. Yeah. They're cool looking. I've never seen many. My era, no quail, but this certain track's got quail.
I sold a track for Mitt. First track I sold over in Sturgis, and I went out there.
Jumped a covey.
I went out there to get some video, just oak trees, and hopefully maybe hear turkey. It was late. Yeah. It was early May, after turkey season. I went and hoped to hear turkey gobble. And quail were whistling in there.
Yeah.
That was
so our Georgia listeners, look, I did spot 7. And I was thinking about wrapping a piece of bacon around them, but anyway, no, they were cool looking to see. They're pretty cool. I don't see them much.
The takeaway is from a hunting. If you're looking for a hunting track,
right,
and your dollar's going to go further, and you may enjoy it a whole lot more. Don't snooze on the cutover.
No, and look, attack that thing because they're not highly. A fresh cutover is not highly sought after.
Yeah,
no.
you probably ain't getting the bidding war.
And I think, look, this is technology. Onyx, Landglide, landowners, associations. You can pull up kind of do some homework, ask some people to co-op, do a little homework, and then say, man, they just bombed that one. You may catch, as I'm telling you, a lot of this older timber that's getting cut. I don't care if it's Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, wherever, it's all the same. A lot of this older timber is getting cut is these older people have either died or in a nursing home, and their children, that third generation, they're going to cut it.
Yeah, and from a timing standpoint, let's hit on this before we wrap up.
Yeah.
Is you see that track getting cut, odds are pretty good that it's going to be a sale after. We talked about this.
It's
we
a lot
didn't
of,
say it this plain.
Yeah.
If you want to get out ahead of something, do your homework right then and go. You can get in there and get an offer.
Land is
and buy a tract because odds are they're going to sell after that.
Land is no different than eBay or anything else. If you get there first,
you got an advantage.
You probably got an advantage.
Yep.
And if you know somebody that has an inside to get there and say, man, I heard, my family's place going. I mean, so many people talk to me about, well, grandma died and they're going to divide.
Why do they talk to you about it? Like people come to you about land because of your background in cutting timber. So it goes to our point.
They want to know. Yeah.
That guy is in there.
I ain't the only person he's talked to
that's
either.
Right.
That's the thing. So, keeping your ears open. Hey, get the word out. Get the word out to some guys, timber folks, realtors. Look, you can use that's those tools we're talking about. Talk to the people that know, okay? Some lawyers that that do land transactions. You're going to see that stuff, auctions. Then you talk to them and say, hey, look, I'm looking for a big piece of cutover. Just, keep that on the down low. And you'll be surprised if people say, man, hey, that boy works at the steel mill. Want a piece of cutover. Hey, let me get his number.
The pros can even look for flagging.
Yeah, they don't. I flagged a many of it. If it's pink flagging, it's finna be cut.
You probably flag some decoy tracks too, just throw people off.
Flag somebody that don't supposed to get cut, make them call them. But but that's the thing. Look, y'all, cutovers are that diamond in the rough.
It can be,
and you can make it great. Now you're gonna have to spend a little money, but it ain't going to be what you think.
Not what you'd spend to go and develop
big timber,
established stand of timber.
No, big timber, road work, all that. I mean,
and the return's quicker. The response, the wildlife response is
correct. And I mean, you think about 100% of a cutover is going to have openings.
It's open.
They done cut it, so they've done a lot of your work.
Yeah.
You just got to go out there and lay it out. And people that can run these GPSs, they can mark points, and then when that thing grows back up, you go in there and mow it. I mean, it's some cool stuff. It can be done. But look, don't let that one get by.
Yep.
That's take on that one.
Yep. Look, get a lot of stuff in the cutover, and we'll keep on doing it.
And we're gonna send some stuff out. We want y'all to really look at it. And me and Brent kind of both come up with this one. And we didn't know one was thinking about the other, and when I told him,
he said something to me. I said, "Wait a minute." I pulled.
He thought I done talked to somebody else
because I was just that day talking to somebody about. I was showing them some of the footage I got in this cutover.
And why is there so many bucks laying in these cutovers?
What I told the person was, you wouldn't believe how many people say, "I don't want cutover," and I want to show them this. I want to say, maybe you do.
Yeah.
Like, I do.
Yeah.
You tell me you don't want cutover, I do.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
All right. Well, look, that's a good one. We appreciate y'all listening, and we got a few of them we're trying to get lined up. We're trying to get more
We're
regular.
trying to get some ones that nobody else talks about. And I know some of them y'all can put in,
there's a million podcasts.
There's
a lot of smart guys doing them.
But we try to get some stuff that people don't talk about.
I never heard a podcast on cutover.
On clear cuts. Anyway.
I think I might make a T-shirt, make cutovers great again.
Could do it. if Trump will give us a little government money, I'll wear one.
Make clear cuts great again.
All right, y'all. We'll see you next time.
See y'all.
Thank you.